Hello, everyone.
And welcome back to Learn English with Podcasts.
I'm Adam.
And I'm Sarah.
Great to have you with us today.
Really great.
So, before we dive in,
Oh, yes, quick note before anything else.
go ahead.
If you're watching this on YouTube and English isn't your first language,
Which, let's be honest, is probably most of you.
exactly, you can turn on the subtitles.
Just click the little CC button at the bottom of the screen.
And you'll get a real-time translation while you listen.
Super useful.
Okay, now, Adam,
Yes.
I need to tell you something.
Okay.
I just got back from a trip.
Oh, where did you go?
France.
Oh, nice. Paris?
No, south of France, actually, Marseille area.
Oh, that's beautiful.
It was stunning. I went with my friend Camille. She's French.
Oh, fun. A French friend showing you around.
Well, that's the thing. It was fun, but also a little chaotic at times.
How so?
Okay, so picture this. First day, we're at this gorgeous little market, outdoor market, fresh food everywhere.
Love that.
And I'm looking at this huge wheel of cheese, and I want to buy some, but not the whole thing, obviously.
Obviously.
So I turn to the vendor, and I say, in my best French, by the way,
Oh, no.
"Can you cut some for me?"
Okay, that sounds fine.
Right? I thought so too. But Camille, she grabs my arm.
What happened?
She goes, "Sarah, in French, couper means to cut, but context really matters here, and apparently the way I said it."
Wait, hold on. So, couper in French is the direct translation of to cut?
Yes, exactly, and I knew that. I mean, I've studied French.
Right.
But here's where it gets interesting, because in English, when we say cut, we almost never say just cut alone. We say cut off, cut down, cut back.
Cut in.
Exactly, and each one means something totally different.
That's the thing with phrasal verbs. The verb alone is almost incomplete.
Right, and Camille, she's learning English, by the way.
Oh, she is?
She is, and she kept translating everything literally. So when I said later, we need to cut back on spending,
Uh-oh.
she looked at me completely confused. Like, cut back? Cut back where? What are we cutting?
She was picturing scissors.
Literally. She thought I wanted to physically cut something and bring it back somewhere.
Oh, that's classic.
And then at dinner, this is my favorite part, we're at this long table with other tourists, and someone was talking, just going on and on.
You know the type.
And I leaned over to Camille and I whispered, "Someone needs to cut in."
Meaning, interrupt politely.
Yes, just step into the conversation. But Camille went pale.
Pale?
She thought I was about to do something dramatic. She whispered back, "Cut in. Cut in where?"
She had no idea what you meant.
None. Zero. Because in French, couper is very physical, very literal. You cut things, objects, food, fabric.
But in English, cut phrasal verbs are everywhere, and they're mostly figurative.
Completely. And that was the big aha moment for Camille. She said, "Oh, so in English you don't just cut things, you cut situations?"
That's actually a really smart way to put it.
Right? I thought so.
So, what else happened on this trip? Was there more coat confusion?
Oh, there was more? Okay, so second day, we're at this lovely little cafe. Gorgeous terrace overlooking the sea.
Stop! I'm jealous.
You should be. And we're talking about the trip budget because we had overspent a little on day one.
As one does.
As one does, and I said, okay, Camille, we need to cut down on restaurants.
Meaning reduce. Spend less.
Exactly. And this time, she actually got it. Sort of. She said, oh, like cutting down, going lower, less.
She was making the connection.
Yes, the particle was clicking, and I was so proud of her.
That's the thing with phrasal verbs. Once you understand the logic of the particle.
It starts to make sense.
Down means going lower, reducing, diminishing.
Exactly. So cut down on something, reduce it, makes total sense visually.
And then there's cut back.
Which is similar. We kept going back and forth between cut down and cut back.
Right, because they're close.
Very close. Camille actually asked, are they the same?
And what did you say?
I said mostly yes, but cut back feels a little more official, like a decision made by an organization, a company, a government.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. The company cut back on overtime. That sounds very corporate.
Exactly. Whereas I'm cutting down on sugar feels more personal, more everyday.
Good distinction.
And then, okay, last story from the trip.
There's more?
One more. We visited this incredible village. Tiny streets, old stone houses.
Love those.
And we were following this walking tour, little audio guide. Very charming.
Nice.
And at one point, the guide said in English, this family cut off all ties with the neighboring village after the dispute of 1847.
Oh, dramatic.
Very dramatic. And Camille stopped walking.
Uh-oh.
She said, cut off all ties? They physically cut something?
Ha-ha! Back to the scissors.
Back to the scissors. And I had to explain, no. Cut off here means they ended the relationship. They broke all contact, completely, permanently.
Like cutting a wire, severing something.
Exactly. And that image actually helped her.
The image of cutting a wire, or cutting a rope.
Yes, because off gives that idea of disconnecting, removing, separating.
Something that was connected is now not.
Exactly. And once she understood that, she started to get cut off really fast.
The particle unlocks the meaning.
Always. And I think that's what makes phrasal verbs so interesting to teach, because French speakers especially, they want to translate directly.
Right, word for word.
But phrasal verbs don't work that way.
They're more like little pictures, little scenes.
Ooh, I like that.
Step up, you're moving upward, taking more. Cut off, you're severing something. Cut back, you're pulling back, retreating.
It's almost visual.
Very visual.
And Camille said at the end of the trip, I think I finally understand why you English people love your phrasal verbs so much.
What did she mean by that?
She said, because each one tells a little story, and the story is in the particle.
That's honestly beautiful.
I know. Camille is deep when she wants to be. Anyway, that trip gave me so many ideas for this episode.
Because today, we're going deep on the cut family.
7 phrasal verbs.
7, all built around to cut. And as we just heard from the Marseille adventure.
They are not what French speakers expect.
Not at all. So, we're going to break them down one by one, give you clear definitions, real examples, and the logic behind each particle.
So that next time you're at a market in the south of France,
Or in a meeting, or reading an email.
you know exactly what's being said.
All right, let's get into it.
Let's teach.
7 phrasal verbs with cut.
7. And after everything we just shared about Camille and the trip?
I think the context is perfect.
Really perfect, because you already have images in your head. The market, the cheese, the audio guide.
The scissors.
Yes, the imaginary scissors.
So let's use that. Let's build on those images as we go through each verb.
Great idea. First one.
To cut off.
To cut off.
Now, we already touched on this one in the story, but let's go deeper.
Yes, because cut off has several layers.
It does. At its core, to cut off means to sever something, to end something completely, definitively.
And it's almost always permanent, or at least it feels permanent when you say it.
Right, there's a finality to cut off that you don't get with other verbs.
Exactly. So first context, relationships, professional or personal. When you cut off contact with someone,
You stop all communication. You remove them from your world.
this family cut off all ties with the neighboring village.
They didn't reduce contact. They didn't limit it. They ended it completely.
That's the weight of cut off.
And in a professional context, think about business relationships. A company might cut off a supplier after a serious dispute.
After the failed audit, the client cut off all communication with the agency.
Clear, direct, no ambiguity.
And notice, you can cut off a person. You can cut off a relationship. You can cut off funding. You can cut off access.
Oh, that's a good one. Cut off access.
Very common in tech environments. The IT department cut off his access after he resigned.
Immediately, his account was gone.
That's cut off. Clean, immediate, final.
Off.
Off is one of the most powerful particles in English phrasal verbs.
It is. And here, off gives the idea of disconnection. Something that was connected is now not.
Like unplugging a cable.
Exactly. Or cutting a wire. Once it's cut, the current stops. The signal is gone.
And that's exactly what cut off means. Emotionally, relationally, professionally.
The connection is gone.
So, to cut off. First definition, to end contact or communication with someone, permanently or very firmly.
Second definition, to interrupt someone while they're speaking.
Oh yes, this one comes up all the time.
Sorry, he cut me off before I could finish.
He interrupted. He stopped you mid-sentence.
And that's also a kind of severing. He cut the thread of what you were saying.
Very visual.
The client cut me off right in the middle of my presentation.
Uncomfortable, but very real.
Third use, and this one surprises people, you could be cut off by a bad signal, by a bad connection.
Oh yes, on a phone call, on a video meeting.
Sorry, I got cut off. Can you hear me now?
Classic remote work moment.
The connection dropped. The call was severed.
Cut off again. Always that idea of a broken link.
Great. So, to cut off, end contact permanently, interrupt someone, or lose a signal or connection.
Second phrasal verb.
To cut away.
This one is more physical, more literal.
To cut away means to remove something by cutting it. You eliminate what isn't needed.
Think about it like editing. You have a first draft. It's too long, too detailed, too messy.
So you cut away the unnecessary parts.
Exactly. They cut away the irrelevant sections from the report before sending it to the board.
Clean, focused. Only what matters remains.
And that's a really useful image for anyone preparing for a presentation or a professional document.
Because in English, especially in business English, less is more.
Very much so, and cutaway captures that perfectly.
Another example, the designer cut away the extra elements to simplify the layout.
The result is cleaner, more professional.
Away.
Away means moving something further from you, separating it from the main body.
You're not just cutting, you're removing, distancing.
The thing that was cut is now gone, away, no longer part of the whole.
Think about a sculptor working on a block of stone.
Oh, I love this image.
He cuts away everything that isn't the statue.
And what remains is exactly what he wanted.
That's cut away. Purposeful removal, strategic elimination.
So to cut away is to remove by cutting, to eliminate what isn't necessary or useful.
Third one.
To cut down.
Now, we talked about this one at the cafe in Marseille.
Yes, budget conversation.
And the core meaning is to reduce, to diminish, to bring something to a lower level.
And it's almost always followed by on.
Cut down on something.
Cut down on expenses. Cut down on meetings. Cut down on screen time.
We need to cut down on unnecessary travel to stay within the quarterly budget.
Practical, real. That sentence could come straight out of a team meeting.
And the beauty of cut down is that it's gradual. It's not a complete stop. It's a reduction.
Right, you're not eliminating, you're reducing.
That's an important nuance. If you cut off something, it's gone. If you cut down on something, you still have it, but less.
So, I cut off sugar means I stopped completely.
And I cut down on sugar means I still eat some, but much less.
That's a distinction worth knowing, especially for exams, because those nuances come up in reading comprehension.
Constantly.
The new manager cut down on team meetings from 5 per week to 2.
Still having meetings, but far fewer.
And everyone was relieved.
Probably.
Now, the particle.
Down is intuitive here.
It is. You're going lower, bringing something down from a higher level.
Think of a graph. The line is going up. You want it to go down.
You cut down, you bring the numbers lower.
It's almost mathematical.
Very visual, very logical.
So, to cut down on, to reduce the quantity, frequency, or amount of something.
Fourth phrasal verb.
To cut in.
Oh, this was Camille's panic moment.
The one that made her go pale.
She thought something dramatic was about to happen.
But cut in is actually quite polite, or at least it can be.
It means to interrupt, to enter a conversation that's already happening.
And the key thing is, it's not necessarily rude. Sometimes cutting in is necessary.
Like when a meeting is going off track?
Or when someone has the wrong information and you need to correct it quickly.
Sorry to cut in, but I think we're looking at the wrong figures.
That's professional. That's confident. That's completely acceptable in a business setting.
And in English, knowing when and how to cut in is actually a sign of engagement.
Exactly. It shows you're listening, you have something to add.
He cut in during the negotiation to clarify the terms of the contract.
He didn't wait. He saw a moment. He took it.
That's cut in.
Another context, driving. You can cut in on the road.
Oh, yes. When someone cuts in front of you?
They insert themselves into a space they weren't invited into.
Very annoying when it happens on the motorway.
That car just cut in right in front of me without signaling.
Rude, but very common.
So cut in works in conversation and in traffic.
Two very different contexts. Same idea. Inserting yourself into a space or flow that was already moving.
The particle in is doing the work here.
In means entering, moving inside something.
You're entering the flow of the conversation or the flow of traffic.
You insert yourself. You become part of something that was already happening.
That's cut in.
To interrupt, to insert yourself into a conversation or a situation that was already in motion.
Fifth one.
To cut up.
Now this one is the most physical of the group.
Very physical, very concrete.
To cut up means to divide something into pieces, multiple pieces. You're not just making one cut.
You're cutting the whole thing into parts.
Think about cooking. You're preparing a meal. You have vegetables, you have meat.
You cut them up before they go into the pan.
Please cut up the vegetables before adding them to the pot.
Simple, clear, domestic.
But cut up works in professional contexts too.
Oh, definitely. The lawyer cut up the contract into individual sections for easier review.
He broke it down. He divided it, made it manageable.
That's also cut up. The result is multiple pieces where there was once one whole.
And there's something satisfying about cut up. It implies completeness.
Yes, you don't cut up halfway.
Right. When you cut something up, you go all the way. Everything is divided.
The up particle is interesting here.
Very interesting, because normally up means going higher, moving upward.
But in phrasal verbs, especially with cut, up often signals completion, thoroughness.
Like you've done the thing entirely, all the way through.
Cut up? You've cut everything into all its pieces.
Think about it like eat up, drink up, use up.
All the way, nothing left.
That's the up of completion, and in cut up, you slice through the whole thing.
Every part, every piece.
So to cut up, to divide something completely into multiple smaller pieces.
Sixth.
To cut back.
Now, cut back and cut down. We need to spend a real moment here.
Because they are close.
Very close, and people confuse them, even advanced learners.
The core meaning of cut back is also to reduce, to scale down, to spend or use less.
So far, sounds just like cut down.
Right, and in many senses, you could use either one. The company cut back on hiring. The company cut down on hiring. Both work.
But there's a difference in feel.
There is. Cutback tends to feel more institutional, more strategic.
Like a decision made from the top.
A policy, a directive. The government cut back on public funding for research.
That's a big decision.
Whereas cut down on feels more personal, more everyday.
I'm cutting down on coffee.
That's you, your choice, your morning routine.
You wouldn't say the government is cutting down on public funding.
It would sound odd, too casual for the scale of the decision.
And you probably wouldn't say, I'm cutting back on coffee in a casual conversation.
Well, you could, but it sounds a little formal for a personal habit.
So the rule of thumb, cut back for organizations, institutions, formal decisions. Cut down for personal behavior, habits, everyday choices.
That's a clean distinction.
And worth keeping in mind, especially for TOEIC or IELTS reading sections where context is everything.
After the budget review, the department cut back on overtime hours significantly.
Exactly. Exactly the register where cut back belongs.
The particle back here is interesting.
It is. Back suggests retreating, pulling away from a position.
Like you've advanced to a certain level of spending or activity, and now you're moving back from it.
Returning to a lower position.
You're not cutting it off entirely. You're stepping back from where you were.
Retreating to a more sustainable point.
That's cut back.
To reduce spending, activity, or output, especially at an organizational or formal level.
Last one.
Seventh and final.
To cut away again? No, wait.
No, seventh is... Actually, let me check my notes here. Right.
To cut up was 5, cut back was 6, and 7th.
We've covered them all. 7 verbs. Cut off, cut away, cut down, cut in, cut up, cut back.
Wait, that's 6.
You're right. I miscounted. Okay, 7. The PDF includes cut up as a variant of cut away, but listed separately.
Right, because the meanings are close but distinct. Cut away is more about removing what's unnecessary. Cut up is more about dividing into pieces.
2 different actions, same verb family.
Exactly. So both deserve their place.
All right, let's recap, because 7 is a lot.
It is, but they're all useful, really, genuinely useful in everyday professional English.
Let's go through them fast.
To cut off.
Sever a connection, end contact, interrupt someone, or lose a signal.
To cut away.
Remove what's unnecessary. Eliminate to simplify.
To cut down on.
Reduce personally. Habits. Everyday choices.
To cut in.
Interrupt. Enter a conversation or a flow that's already moving.
To cut up.
Divide completely into multiple pieces.
To cut back on.
Reduce formally. At an organizational or institutional level.
6 distinct verbs, 6 distinct meanings, all built on one simple word.
And that's the magic of phrasal verbs. One root, many directions.
And the particle tells you which direction you're going.
Always.
Off, disconnection. Away, removal. Down, reduction. In, entry. Up, completion. Back, retreat.
Those out loud a few times.
Seriously, just the particles. Off, away, down, in, up, back.
Once those images are in your head, the phrasal verbs click.
And you stop translating word by word.
Which is exactly what Camille was doing in Marseille.
Poor Camille.
She's getting better, though. I've already sent her a link to this episode.
Oh, perfect.
So, Camille, if you're listening, this one's for you.
Bonjour, Camille.
Haha! Now, if you want to test yourself on everything we just covered,
Head over to the article on aidtestanglais.com.
there's a full quiz at the bottom. 5 questions, all based on today's verbs.
It takes about 3 minutes.
3 minutes that will tell you exactly which of these verbs you've got and which ones need a little more work.
The link is in the description of this episode.
Click it, do the quiz, and then come back and listen again if you need to.
That's how you actually learn, not just by listening,
But by testing yourself, by using the verbs.
by making them yours.
We also have 24 more families coming in this series.
24 episodes, each one a new verb family.
All organized in a dedicated playlist.
Easy to find, easy to follow. You can binge the whole thing if you want.
Though, maybe space them out a little. Give yourself time to practice each family.
Good advice.
All right, that's it for today.
Thank you so much for being with us.
Genuinely, we know your time is valuable, and we don't take it for granted.
So the fact that you're here, listening, learning, showing up,
That matters.
Keep going. Seriously, every episode you complete is a step forward.
And phrasal verbs, once they click, they stay with you.
They become part of how you think in English.
And that's when the language stops feeling foreign.
That's the goal.
See you next week.
Take care, everyone.
Bye.